podcast with our host, Sherrie Price Clark of Storehouse Media. Hi, Sherrie.
Hi, Neil. Hi, Neil.
How
Good
are
to be
you?
back.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we have a great guest today.
we do. We really do. And his bio is just really interesting. We have Robert Siciliano. Welcome, Robert, to the
Thank you. Very
show.
happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you. And he is a CSP, a CSI, and CITRMS, which we're going to get into those letters in a moment. But basically, what you need to know about Robert is that he's a security analyst, a best-selling author, and the architect of the Strategic Human Firewall. He, as one of the, he's been recognized. He's a recognizable educator in personal corporate protection and the Straight Talk Boys for a Digital Age. He's shared his expertise on shows like CNN, Fox News, CNBC, Anderson Cooper 360, and his insights in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and Forbes. Pretty impressive, Robert. So again, welcome to the show. So, I really, before we get started, so people get more of like who Robert is, what are those letters? Explain to them CSP, CSI, and CITRMS.
Sure. I'm an orator, which means I speak professionally. I've been doing that since I was in my mid 20s. So CSP is Certified Speaking Professional. CSI is I am certified in cyber social identity and personal protection training. And certified identity theft risk management specialist is a designation that I achieved about 20 years ago. And so when it comes down to it, uh, my certifications revolve around being an effective communicator, on digital literacy as it pertains to cyber social identity and personal protection. So people like you and I can effectively reduce risk.
Well, I'm curious, how did you get into this?
Yeah. Again, get on stages and platforms and I get off the stage. And when people come up to me at the end of my program, they're like, so what are you like? Former law enforcement, retired, Secret Service, CIA? Like, what's your deal, man? And I'm like, literally the streets of Boston. Like, that's where I come from. Okay. I've been doing what I do since my early teens, truly teaching personal protection. And I learned a lot from the streets. And as I evolved, as my focus and attention evolved, I've consumed a tremendous amount of information over the course of my 58 years on this planet. And today, my entire motto is staying on top of what is new and ahead of what is next at all times in regards to all things cyber, social identity, and personal protection.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive, Sherrie.
He is, right? I told you, I told Neil, I said he's going to really like him. You talk about the the strategy human firewall.
Yeah.
What is that?
All right.
And how's it compare with security theater?
Okay. So, you know how, like, every time the phone rings, an email comes in, you get a text message, you get some type of a pop up. And, like, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to, like, look at it and go, okay, what's really happening here? You know, like when you get that text message that says it's coming from your state's registry of motor vehicles, and it says, "Listen, if you don't, this is the Montana Registry of Motor Vehicles, and we've picked you up on our security cameras, and you have a moving violation you haven't paid for, and you're going to lose your driver's license unless you click this link." Well, what you're supposed to do is your BS radar is supposed to be up and you're supposed to be looking at, okay, what's really happening here? And so the strategic human firewall is basically a human firewall designed to block deception. So traditional firewalls filter internet traffic. Human firewalls filter intent. What is the intent of this phone call, email, text message, this person that's standing in front of me? What's their intent? You know, basically, it blocks deception. It's a proactive governance. It's a mindset that turns us from passive targets, which many of us are, into active detection layers. We become a human sensor network. It basically shifts from I trust what I see by default to I verify everything. I'm paying attention. It's situational awareness. Like in the physical world, situational awareness is as I'm walking down the street, I'm paying attention to what's in front of me. I'm paying attention to what's going on behind me. I'm looking behind me, you know? I'm looking to the right. I'm looking to the left. That's situational awareness. Looking for anybody paying any unwanted attention to me if they mean to do me harm. Situational awareness virtually online is every time the phone rings, every time you get a text message, every time you get an email, right? Every time there's a pop-up on your browser, what is the intention of me engaging, clicking this link, downloading this file, reacting or responding to this phone call, this text message? What's its intention? Does the person on the other end, do they have good intentions or bad intentions? And all of that can happen in a split second, you know? Once you begin to effectively recognize risk for what it actually is as a good thing, it's good to recognize risk versus, oh, it can't happen to me. Why would they target me? I don't want to live like that, which is most people, right? The strategic human firewall is like head on a swivel, looking for the good that life has to offer, and for your safety and security, also looking for the bad. Okay. And ultimately, we achieve what I call security appreciation. Security appreciation is the shift from basic security awareness to, like, I know about these things, to appreciation, which means I care about these things. It matters to me. So when employees or consumers appreciate how security protects their own lives, that's when behavior changes permanently. That's when becoming a strategic human firewall is a permanent thing. It's a permanent mindset. Ultimately, it's that chasm between our knowledge or lack of appreciation of security to truly recognizing risk for what it actually is. And you achieve what I call the kitchen table effect, which is that multiplier effect where successful training, which is what I do, ends with the employee going home and teaching the concepts to their family, ultimately cementing those lessons for life.
You see specifically enough the mistake people make, you're right, is they're not cautious. They'll open up anything. And the first thing I say, I doubt it's real. That's the first thing I do when I see an email, a text, or something. I'm verifying it's from a verified person, and I'm making sure that I'm not opening up anything unless I know that person. If I know that they're verified and it's from a specific verified person, I know it can't be hacked. Meaning, from a verified email, that I know that's a verified email from that specific person. I know it's that person, and it has context. Because a lot of times they'll put context to something, and then you open it up and it has no context. You know they've been hacked.
Yeah. So you're already engaging in what it means to be a strategic human firewall. Essentially, you've trained yourself over a lifetime of engaging in technology and effectively making an effort to recognize risk. And a lot of people don't even do that at all. Like they truly don't even look at the phone call, the email, the text message with any degree of risk management. They just look at it as, oh, who's calling me? What do they want? Oh, the registry of motor vehicles? Oh, I better pay that fine. Like they're not even thinking for a second. And we don't necessarily call them gullible or naive. They just haven't been trained effectively. You know, when I work with victims, which I do all the time, 100% of the time, people who are victimized, they always say to me, you know, I kind of knew something was wrong. And then they say, but how could I be so stupid? And I say, you know what? I don't think you're stupid at all. I think that what's happening here is that organized criminals, organized crime has gotten involved in cybersecurity or in cyber fraud. And right now, organized crime has essentially taken up on cybercrime. And now that has eclipsed the organized illicit drug trade. So they're making more money with cybercrime than they are with like fentanyl. Okay. That being said, when there's that much money to be made, they're targeting everybody and they're using human psychology and human biology against us. And so they know why you thought something was wrong. And they know why due to your own human blind spot. You clicked the link, you downloaded the file, you reacted to the phone call. And the human blind spot is truly what organized criminals are using against us. What is it? It's basically that psychological instinct to trust. It's that cognitive gap where our biology overrides our suspicion, leaving the door wide open for all kinds of fraud. Understand about the human blind spot is our want and need to trust. Now, man trusts woman. Woman trusts man. Why? Because biologically, we need to trust each other. Why? Because if we don't trust each other, we will not do what? Procreate. We are considered what is called an interdependent species. We, man and woman, are interdependent upon each other. We need each other to survive. Without each other, we would stop procreating. The species would dissipate. That would be the end of life as we know it. Okay, the cockroaches would survive, but we wouldn't, right? In the end, that human blind spot makes us want to trust each other. And ultimately, that biological default to trust leads to the psychological shortcuts or the heuristics the criminals use to bypass human logic and human emotion. Think of it as biological impulse versus intellectual understanding, essentially that internal conflict between trusting and not trusting. And we want to trust.
Yeah, we
That's
totally do.
yeah, we do. I mean, and yeah, people do take advantage of that. It's just simple. I got an email from a really good friend. Her email was on there. Her email was on there, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're inviting you to a night to appreciate blah blah blah, and it just, yeah, it was not a real thing, and
And
so
the
I
hackers
said,
say, yeah. And the hackers say, once you own the person's email, you own the person. Like you own
oh,
them. Because once they gain access to your email, they can reset the passcode for every single one of your accounts that are connected to that email as the username or as the default email to reach out to reset and change the password. So email security is like 101. But how do you engage in email security? Well, the same way you engage in any other website that you're connected to. Change up your passcodes, never use the same passcode twice, use a password manager, and set up two-factor authentication for everything. And I know firsthand, because I get in front of live audiences all the time, that between 80 and 90% of the general public don't do those basic things, which makes them extremely vulnerable.
well, that two-step is really good because I got a text one day from my bank saying, "Here's your code." I didn't
Exactly.
try to get into my bank. And so I called my bank and they're like, yeah, they got my password, they got my username.
Yes,
But it
exactly.
was that two-step that stopped them. And they said, yeah, somebody was trying to get to your account. I'm like, holy smoke.
So doing two-step verification, what's the chances of being hacked after having two-step verification?
Okay, so there's no such thing as 100% security.
Right.
Okay. However, when 80 to 90% of the general public is not using two-factor authentication, then if you enable two-factor authentication, you become in the top 10%-ish of secure Americans. You become the tougher target. They move on to somebody else. So when Sherrie got the one-time text message, what do you think they did next? They moved on to somebody else. Now, they could have, if they wanted to push the issue, reached out to Sherrie and say, hey, Sherrie, it's your bank. We just sent you that one time text message code. Could you give it to us, please? And if Sherrie, got hooked, she might have done that. So, what it boils down to is, as long as Sherrie was aware enough, which apparently she was, to not respond to that one time text, right? She called her bank and said, hey, what's going on here? Then she was good. The chances of you being hacked with two factor authentication, I would say diminish 90%. not 100%, but 90%, due to the fact that they're likely to move on to somebody else. So as long as you have these basic systems in place, in most situations, as long as you have your basic awareness and appreciation of security and what it has to offer, generally you should be good.
Well, and I want to add that happened while I was staying in a hotel. It was one of the situations I had to log in. I didn't have a choice. And then I get, I don't know, 4 hours later, I'd already got my two-step verification, 10 o'clock that morning. It's all good now. It's 3:30 afternoon. I get another two-step verification. Well, I know I hadn't been in it. So it was in a hotel. So those are probably not really secure, would you say? That's what I've heard.
I would say that when you're in an environment where you're using public or free Wi-Fi, you want to use what's called a VPN, a virtual private network. A VPN is a tool that you can download for free. It might be free to use and it might cost a small annual fee. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. Google it, and you'll find websites like wired.com or pcmagazine.com that will tell you exactly what a VPN is. They'll walk you through all their evaluations of various VPNs that they've used, how much they cost, whether they work on Mac versus PC versus Android or iDevice, and so forth. And so by engaging in a VPN and launching a VPN when you're at the hotel, when you're at the resort, when you're on free Wi-Fi, it encrypts your data in communication with that website via email and so forth. It locks down your data and encrypts your information over the virtual private network. So it significantly reduces the chance of you being sniffed out and your data being stolen. Whether or not that is where that happened, I don't know. What I do know is that in the past, say 20, 30 years, 300 billion of our records, Sherrie, 300 billion. All of our names, our addresses, our phone numbers, our email addresses, our social security numbers, and about 20 billion of our passwords are on the dark web as we speak. So you want to make your password useless to a thief? Change it. How else would you make your password useless to a thief? Set up two-factor authentication, you know? So as long as we do these basic things, we put these systems in place, we engage in basic 101 risk management, most of us should be in pretty good shape.
Right. That's the thing is do that. And the VPN, now, can that also help you benefit if you want certain sites that are, let's say, banned in that state or that country, which is happening now, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the evolution of AI. Will those
Yes.
VPNs work in that way so that you can access things that maybe aren't allowed in that country?
So in most cases, when you launch a VPN, say you live in, Iraq, and they outlaw VPNs. In most cases, if you tell the VPN that you live in the UK, so from that part of the world, you would say UK, then chances are it's going to let you in from Iraq as if you are communicating from the UK. If you are in Florida and a particular website you visit won't let you access that website, but you tell the VPN, well, I actually want to say that I'm from Boston, chances are you're going to be able to get in because the VPN is telling whatever that website is, you're elsewhere and so forth. So VPNs generally do what they're supposed to mask your IP address and encrypt the data in which you're communicating with so that it can't be seen or sniffed out by hackers who are in the area
Mhm. And it can help you and benefit you too using a VPN.
in a number of ways. Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. So, I have a question that wants one change an IT leader can make this week that's going to instantly reduce human risk. No new tools, no big program, just a simple shift they can implement immediately.
So there are a number of basic things that we can do to make sure that in our own lives, in our own companies, that we're locking things down, right? It all begins with us individually. So when I say us, I mean like literally me. To protect myself, to protect my family, I would engage in a password manager, two-factor authentication, changing up my passcodes, setting up what's called a credit freeze. A credit freeze through Experian, TransUnion, Equifax locks down my social security number, protecting my identity. So even if and when they get my social security number, they can't do anything with it. It makes the data useless to the thief. A credit freeze, you know? So doing those basic things. If you're in a company and you want to engage in additional security awareness training for your people, you want to have conversations with your employees in regards to your own personal security, your own protecting your own identity, your own passwords, your own two-factor authentication, talking to your chief information security officers, your CISOs, your CEO in regards to their own basic personal security, because all of that matters. And every bit of that gets everybody on the same page regarding protection, personal protection, and it also opens up the dialogue in regards to if I'm having these issues in regards to my own security, my parents, their parents, like in others, then so are our own employees. And that these are the conversations that we need to be having to get everybody on the same page. And if your employees aren't engaging, if they're not engaging in the basic one-on-one stuff, then they're not going to be engaged in protecting your company data all that effectively either. So security awareness training, or I call it security appreciation training, is absolutely necessary for any enterprise, small, medium, and large businesses today.
Good advice.
Interesting. Yeah. So Sherrie, just to really, when we hear these conversations, we make ourselves saying, okay, we need to become better at what we're doing with our cybersecururity.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, as you're speaking, I think to myself, because I know that I think just about everybody has in one way or another been compromised. What percentage would you think of Americans have been compromised because of hackers? Just maybe educationally or just guesstimation.
I would say easily 80%. I don't know anybody who has not received a letter in the mail that a particular company or government agency that had their information on file was breached and they received, a year or 2 years of identity protection as a result. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody. In my own life, me, my wife, my daughters who are 17 and 20, both of them have received information like that. I don't know anybody. I would say 80+% of everyone has had some type of violation of sorts. And if you haven't, it's just because you don't know about it yet. I've had criminal hackers email me my own social security number. Hey, security guy, here's your social. Ha ha. Basically flexing their muscles, showing me how cool they are. I could care less. You know why? Because I have a credit freeze. You do these basic things, you become a tougher target, and you're good.
Wow. Some pretty impressive stuff, Sherrie.
It is. It is. And the credit freezes is for free. Just get on those make three accounts, and bada boom, your credit's frozen. I did that. Try to get stuff like, oh, we can't approve you because you got a credit freeze. I loved it.
Exactly.
I loved
Bada
it.
boom.
I'll make.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to go unfreeze my credit before I can be approved.
Exactly. And you set up the credit freeze, just so you know, Sherry, if you haven't already done it. Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, they have mobile apps. And if you set up your mobile apps, log in and the whole thing, you can easily temporarily thaw your credit right from your phone. It takes like under a minute per bureau. It's nice and easy.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how could they get a hold of you, Robert? Somebody wants to learn more about what you do, have you come speak.
So again, the name is Robert Siciliano, and if you just go to the Google, I'm all over. The first 2, 3 pages of search. Other than that, my website is protectnowllc.com. Protectnowllc.com.
All right. Thanks again, Robert. Really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Robert.
All right, go to storehousemediagroup.com, all things publishing, marketing, and publishing and podcasting. Appreciate it, guys. That was a special simulcast Neil Haley Show. and the Storehouse Media Group podcast, guys. Take care.